Pay attention.
So excited to be with two of my favorite ladies, Daphne Reid and Karyn Parsons. How are you ladies doing today?
Very well, thank you.
Oh, Daphne, how are you doing?
Excellent. Excellent.
Oh, yay.
Feeling
it's so
great.
Good to see you.
Not
so
as
do you.
tired
You
as
both
I
look
thought I would be.
fantastic. Well, I put makeup on for the first time in a long time, so there's that.
And it looks so good on you.
Look at you. You look great.
Thank you. I appreciate you both. Thank you so much for doing this. You know, things are just insane now with this whole COVID stay-at-home pandemic. You know, we're just thinking of fun things to do for our audience, and we thought, let's have a conversation with the ladies from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air so that all of our fans and your fans can hear from you all how fabulous you are. But we're going to start off with, you guys had some great news. You guys just did something incredible. Tell us all about that, or what you can share.
I'll let you do it, Karyn.
Me? Well, I'll start it and you can come on in. But yeah, we just celebrated 30 years of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. We had a big Fresh Prince reunion show shoot. And so we'll be bringing that to audiences soon. But that was absolutely remarkable. We were excited for it to happen, but I don't think any of us could have bargained on the emotional roller coaster.
Right.
Yeah. And the depth of feeling in places I didn't anticipate it. And surprises.
Right.
I mean, there was all kinds of stuff. Surprises of outside things, but then definitely surprises from within. I mean, it was just beautiful and cathartic, and I don't think it could have gone much better. Enlightening. Yeah. I don't think it was deep, right?
Yes, it was deeper than I had ever expected to go.
Me too.
We learned things we never knew about the show we were on.
Yes, exactly. That was crazy. That was crazy. I was like, how do we not know that? How did we not? There were a lot of those moments where we all were going, huh? How did we not know that? Yeah, it was pretty amazing. And it just felt really good, and it was it was a lot of this.
It felt whole. It felt complete.
Did it really?
Yes.
Yeah.
How long has it been since you've seen everyone?
It's not even that it's I don't even know if it's that, right? Because we've seen each other.
Oh yeah, we see each other a lot. And Tatiana and I see Alfonso, and we bump into each other, or we plan things. I mean, we've done weddings and births and funerals.
Exactly. And reunion, Sweet-Blackberry reunion thing.
Right.
But there was something about this whole thing that was pretty
exciting for us.
It was very exciting, and it felt, like you said, it was really whole,
right? Very
rich, like never any gathering of us together before.
So what can we expect from it? What can we expect? And it was all improvised, right? No script?
No script.
No, there's no script.
Wow.
And we didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah, they were a real hush
at all.
Yeah, we had no idea what was going on.
They had us staying at separate hotels, so we wouldn't interact with each other until we made it to the set. Wow. It was all real hush hush, and they wanted it to be fun and surprises, and there were.
Well, I can't. When is it coming out?
Thanksgiving.
Oh, perfect. On HBO Max, right?
Around Thanksgiving, HBO Max, yeah.
Okay, well, good. Congratulations to you all. I think that's phenomenal, and everyone's looking forward to this, right? Because we've all been wondering, what's everybody doing? We want the Fresh Prince to come back on the air, so this is going to be fantastic. And Thanksgiving is
talk a lot about what we all are doing in life right now.
At all.
I don't think we even got to that.
No, really? I thought we would. I thought that was interesting that we didn't talk about what everybody's doing.
That was my last question. So let's get to that now. What are you guys doing now? And then we'll back into the Fresh Prince. So Daphne, what are you doing now? What are you working on?
Well, I did a couple of films since I left the Fresh Prince.
Just a couple.
I had the honor of being a member of the team that brought Harriet to the screen.
That's right. We saw you.
That was a joy for me.
Yes.
And I just completed a Christmas movie right before COVID started. Nice. So that'll be coming on in December.
Nice.
I've been designing. I've been making clothes.
I see your
got
mask.
a
Yes.
line. Oh, and masks, lots of masks. and I've been writing. I have a cookbook out.
Oh, wow, good.
I started my memoirs, and I've been getting notes on the first few chapters that I got. So
wow. And her photography books, your book.
Oh yeah.
Your photography books.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Photographs from around the world. I've been doing for the past 12 years. Yes, and this calendar this year, this is my 8th calendar.
Wow.
This one is not on doors.
Oh.
It's on details.
Okay. Looking
So
forward to that.
The photography journey has been great.
Nice.
Oh, that's really cool. And the traveling wasn't bad either.
A reason to have a job.
Yeah.
Exactly. And how have you been doing, Miss KP, Karyn Parsons?
I've been well. You know, as you know, Stephanie, with your involvement as well with Sweet-Blackberry.
Yay.
Yay, Sweet-Blackberry. So I've been working with Sweet-Blackberry, which is a nonprofit, for people who don't know, it's a nonprofit organization whose mission is to bring little known stories of African-American achievement to children.
Absolutely.
And we do that primarily through short animated films. Miss Stephanie is on the board. But they're short animated films about real people that you don't hear about. And we have, they're told like they're like picture books come to life. We have a single narrator. We've had Queen Latifah, Alfre Woodard, Chris Rock, Lawrence Fishburne, beautiful illustrations. And I'm really excited that we've had these films on Netflix and HBO and Canopy. And now we have our first picture books coming out in December. Yes, which I'm very excited about. So we're going to have Little Brown is publishing them, and there will be a hardcover picture book about Bessie Coleman, the first Black female aviator, which we have a film of. That's coming out in December. And then next year, top of next year, Garrett's Gift will also be a book. We're working on that. We're just finishing that one up. So that's exciting. And then aside from Sweet-Blackberry, the work is also with Sweet-Blackberry. I travel around to schools when you can travel. I travel to schools and screen the films for kids and talk to them. And that's really gratifying. That's my favorite thing to do. But I wrote a middle grade novel, historical fiction novel called How High the Moon. And that came out last year and was just released on paperback. So
you're downplaying it. That book was beautiful, Karyn. It is beautiful. And the fact that you actually wrote a book is a huge accomplishment.
Thank you. I'm working on the second one.
Wow.
I have another one right now. And that's between the way my life personally and the world has been, and it being a sophomore, effort, which means I'm, kind of overly scrutinizing everything, has made this a very challenging endeavor, but I'm going to get through it. But it's new and I love it.
Oh, congratulations. I mean, you guys are amazing. That's so good. I want to be both of you when I grow up.
Be careful what you ask for.
I know, right? Exactly.
You've got kids. She's got kids.
I know. Yeah.
Mine are gone. So they're grown up, and I don't have to deal with all of this going through COVID.
This homeschooling is tough. Everybody home in one house is definitely an interesting time.
Exactly.
I'll say that.
It sure is.
It's an interesting time. But Daphne, let's talk to you for a little while. So you played the role of a Black mom who is such an important, pivotal role, and you did it with such style and grace. And the transition between the original mother and then with you taking up was just, in my opinion, seamless. How did you, what were you thinking when you took on that role, and how did you prepare for it? Because from what I remember, it was just seamless and no one even missed a beat, missing, the other mother. So that was fantastic.
I came into a loving environment where I was respected and embraced. It was seamless because they were so gracious in just opening up their lives to me.
Right.
The usurper. But I didn't have to really prepare for it. During the auditions, I fell in love with James Avery. So that's all I needed to do.
Right.
It was a joyous, joyous family. And I really felt embraced by everybody. Right. And I have no negative, no quirks, no nothing. It was just go to work and just be. And I knew I knew this family, and I knew how they had grown in the 3 years before me. And I knew where I needed to be. They started, with a new baby,
right?
Which was hard the first year because they were heavy to tote around. But I was so pleased the second year I was there, season 5, we had a little boy, and he was on his feet.
Right.
And we got to see Nicky at the reunion too.
Oh,
he's a grown man now. And
is he really?
Exactly the same, but he's got a mustache and a goatee.
Wow.
But it was a joy just going to work.
But did you understand the impact of portraying this strong Black mother and not stereotypical bootstrap story? It was this upper class family, and that's heavy. And that was something that was so needed in that time and today for other, Black and brown children and even white kids to see you as this role model of mom and see that unit of husband and wife. Did you understand what you were doing and how you were going to impact the world even today?
I had done it before. I had a whole career full of strong Black women.
That's right.
On Snoops, the show that I did with Tim,
right.
I was a State Department leader, and I was a strong Black woman. On
That's
Frank's
right.
Place, I owned a funeral home. I was a strong Black woman. And I know from all the parts in my career that what I was representing was more than just me.
That's right.
I knew that the community needed to see a variety of strong Black women. They don't all look the same. They don't all sound the same, but we have helped build America, and we're still here. And look out, because we'll start taking over soon.
We ain't going nowhere. Exactly.
We ain't going nowhere.
And can I just say, Frank's Place has got to come back. I love that show.
Right.
I love that show. I cry every time I see an episode.
I know.
Yeah.
It's great. So Miss Karyn Parsons, you were America's Black princess. How did that make you feel? And again, for little girls, I don't remember how old I was when that came out, but to see you on screen and to say, wow, look at her. She's just so stylish and so classy. And it was you're a great role model, whether you believe that or not. I mean, despite the character being a little diffy sometimes, you were a great role model. You are a great role model. And the vision and the imagery of you on the screen was important for us to see. Did you realize that?
No, I did not. And that's something that's taken me a long time to understand, because I think I was thinking so much of the kind of silliness of the character and I really appreciated the Archie Bunker kind of holding the mirror up to being honest, brutally honest about a character doesn't have the most attractive traits, but that's important sometimes. And I liked that about her, and I really didn't want them to try to change that element too much, because I think it has its own value as well as having comedic value. But it took me a long time after the show to realize that one of the things that the show had that was so great is we had so many different Black people on one show.
Nice.
So many different kinds of, people with different personalities and interests and all over. We were not, and that's very difficult. We're so often everyone's in the same club and pegged as the same thing. And even if Hillary was into her shopping and very self-centered, and I think that it was really good for people to see somebody, a different person. Like, this is a different individual, whether they keyed into certain parts of her or not. It still has something I think that we all can value and appreciate, which is all of our differences. And we don't get enough of that. That gives everybody else license to be different themselves and feel at the same time included and seen, Yes,
that inclusion was the whole feel of family. We always came back to family, no matter how diverse our characters were.
Exactly.
That's true. And it came across on the screen, absolutely. I don't know if Hillary was self-centered, or would you say she was more insecure?
I think she was kind of mono-focused. I mean, she couldn't see outside of this. Like she wanted, which was actually like most people, your greatest, what is it? Your greatest feature is usually your detriment. So for her, she could focus like laser on something because that's all she could see, but then she couldn't see outside of this. She couldn't see anybody else or what anyone else was dealing with or going through, because it was about, so when I say self-centered, I'm thinking of it like that. She had this monofocus. But insecure, yeah, she was actually deeply insecure. It came out in a few episodes. We didn't see it much.
No, we didn't.
But there were a few episodes where she had her Achilles heel, and that came out in a few episodes where you saw that she didn't have the steady footing she liked to present all the time.
Right. Did you guys think the impact of the show was going to be so well received? Did you know what you were creating as you were creating it?
I knew it was a good show, but you can't predict iconography. So
no,
we have no idea that the fans were going to have this kind of longevity.
No.
I mean, we're on our third generation of kids who are talking about the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I mean, my kids watch it, so it's just like, that's amazing.
It's crazy. I think it's every 5 years. It's like, it seems like it's always, I mean, it happens more often, but there's always people saying it was my favorite show. Now it's my kid's favorite show.
Right.
And then, then it happens again and again and again. And it's this gift that keeps on giving, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I mean, I think one thing I knew from the very beginning was that, that guy, Will Smith, was incredibly charismatic, incredibly effortlessly charming, charismatic. You leaned in to watch him. He just kind of, it was effortless for him. It's who he is, this kind of affable, real big personality, wants to have a lot of fun, and it's infectious. That was just who he was. And then as time went on, I mean, right away there was chemistry. Miss Daphne showed up, and like you said, the perfect word was great. The grace. I mean, she just came in, and her relationship with James Avery also helped make it so easy for all of us, because they had such a connection from they already had it when they auditioned together. So then they came and they brought that, and that made it even, you had her grace, but you had also their relationship they were so kind of just connected, that we had that, and that went with it. So we had all of these things that just flowed. The Will and Alfonso teamwork, that comedy team, when the writers keyed into that and started kind of playing around with that, we saw a whole different level of comedy and inner workings that I think really served the show well as well, and served Will well also,
Yeah. He's the hardest working man in show business. I've never seen anybody bring that much passion and commitment to anything.
While doing 17 other things at the same time.
He's just amazing.
But even though it was the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and it was a show about his character, I felt that the character development of all of you was really well played in that show. It just didn't feel like it was the Will Smith show. It felt like each of you had your own individuality, and it shined through in all those episodes. That's what I think made it, in my opinion, one of the things that made it such a huge success, is that we saw Hillary, we saw the mom, we saw all of you.
I think
we were blessed to have great writers.
Exactly.
And we had good storylines, and I think our longevity is because we dealt with subjects that are universal, and they're applicable in a lot of different family dynamics.
Right.
And that we treated with honesty and sometimes humor, but sometimes with, no, this is the way it has to be, because that's not acceptable.
Right. So when the show came out and it was doing well, did you guys get any negative reaction, any negative critiques, like this is not realistic or anything like that? Or was it just well received? This is before social media, so
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say this is before social media, so if it happened, I didn't hear about it.
We wouldn't know.
Wow.
I mean, Will might tell you something different, because he was more keyed in as because of his involvement, more direct with that behind the scenes stuff. But for me, I'm like, it was, there was no Instagram or anything to find out people are like saying stuff, and It was a different time.
It was Facebook. There was Facebook.
There was no Facebook.
I got some reactions at the beginning of Facebook.
Really?
In Facebook?
Oh, there was always, from the beginning, that's not the real Aunt Vivian.
Oh.
I got a lot, and I had 30 years of that.
Oh.
Well, 27 years of that. And I just said, oh, I'm the second one.
Right. That's not.
She's my favorite. You're my favorite. I said, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't remember Facebook being out around that. Okay. Wow.
It was something that I was hearing about it.
Right.
I thought it was Facebook because they seemed kind of old at this point.
And maybe, what was the other thing? MySpace? There used to be like MySpace.
Oh, maybe it was MySpace.
Probably. Something like that.
That's interesting. Because like I said, I thought it was seamless. It wasn't that I liked one other better than the other. I thought you both were great at it.
We have a community that delves in differences.
Exactly.
That's true.
And comparisons.
So when did you, well, you already well known, Daphne, but Karyn, when did you realize that you were, hey, I'm a star? When did you realize that?
A couple days ago.
Yes. Over drinks.
Over drinks. I know, right? The other night I was like, wait a minute. We're TV stars, right? I was like, are we really TV stars? It's taken a long time for it to kind of settle in.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah. And, for both of us, because I lived such a life, just a regular life. I think it came when the manager came over and took care of our check in the polo.
Right. Right.
That only happens to stars.
Right. And they were saying, we're just so honored to be able to help you celebrate, because they knew that we were doing the 30-year thing. And they said, we're so honored to be able to help you celebrate. You've meant so much to our lives and our growing up. And so we just want to, and we're just like, oh.
It's true. It's so true.
It's funny because we hear it, you hear it, and it feels like a nice thing for people to say, not meaning that I think people are disingenuous. It's not that I think that they don't mean it, but I do have it has a hard time sinking in, I think, because like Daphne said, she lives just a regular life. The same thing here. I'm not in Hollywood, and I'm not like living some lavish, contrary to what many people would think. I'm not living that life. I'm not living the Hillary life. And so it feels odd. And I'm so grateful to have been a part of something like that. And I'm honored to have a place in people's memories, their development, their heart, that's something that helped them through things. I am so honored to have that, because honestly, I was having a wonderful time with people I love.
That's awesome.
Laughing, and I was where I wanted to be on that set every day, never wanted to be home instead.
Awesome.
So there was actually this bonus decades later. That's just gravy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And her humility also keeps us on the ground. I mean, we don't live the Hollywood life.
Mm-mm.
It's, family, it's friends, it's going out to the grocery store. It's normal people life.
And I can attest to that, because the first time I met you on the Vineyard, when you came to the festival in the early days, you were just so wonderful and warm and gracious. You really were, Daphne. And Karyn, I don't even remember how you and I actually met, to be honest. I was living in New York, and I don't know how we met, but same thing. You were just like regular, and I was sitting there like, I'm speaking to Hillary from the Fresh Prince. This is real. Like, wow.
And then you found out you were speaking to Karyn.
Exactly. And then I found out I was speaking to Karyn, and we've been friends ever since. And I'm so blessed to know both of you. You guys are so amazing. One last question. So which social impact episode was your favorite, and why? Karyn, you go first.
Well, I think, let me make sure I'm right here. I can't be sure that I'm right, but I will say it's the one that really gets everybody every time, which is when Will's father left.
Oh, right. I remember that one.
I think, and the reason I say that, there's so many, but one of the reasons I say that right away is because it had such an impact. because that one has resonated for so many people. See, so many people have been so vocal about that, and talk about that and how much it affected them. And of course, I remember when Will was going through it, and it meant a lot to him to really deliver on that performance. And he was trying so hard that he was kind of in his own way a little bit. And James, I remember him going to James Avery for, to try to help with that. But he ended up delivering in such a heart-wrenching and surprising way. And it's beautiful that they were able to get that on, on tape, and that the world was able to see it, because it has affected a lot of people. And I think it's an important subject, and I think it made a lot of people feel less alone. So that's the one I would call out.
Okay. And even this week when we were shooting and talking to the crew members, there were crew who came up and said, I needed to see that because my father left. I mean, they said these things really meant something to them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think for me, so much of the show, I was like, oh, it's a sitcom. It's funny, And there were these things that happened, some subjects, that came along. And, that's part of how comedy does work. You're wide open from laughing, and then you get punched with something real,
right?
Just straight in the chest, and it hits you and it lands.
Right.
And that is the beauty of that, of having these characters that are just, Will and Carlton are just silly, and then, something more serious happens, like they get pulled over, they get profiled and pulled over, and it lands on people like, whoa, this is, of course, that happened to them. Exactly. Of course that happened,
What about you, Daphne? Is it the same one?
It was the same one, yeah. That's the one that I always think of when I think of impact of that show. But also we heard stories this week about people who were impacted just by the inspiration to achieve that was presented on the show.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I like that. Inspiration to achieve. That's right.
Yeah. That was really beautiful.
That kind of sums it up, the show, right? Inspiration to achieve.
And you don't realize that how much that just that alone, just us being this family that's doing well and loves each other and comes back to each other with all of our differences, like you said, Daphne, but that we're doing well in the world. How much just that alone, without the storyline, just that existence, that they're there, the Banks family, that is so much for people to look to and aspire to.
I think that's what makes the show have its legs, its longevity. Absolutely. Because that's a basic tenet of community and family. So
right. Well, thank you, ladies, for your time. I appreciate them. You guys are very busy. I really appreciate you doing this. They're going to love this. You dropped a lot of nuggets and you shared some great stories, and I love you both. But I'm going to stop recording so we can keep chatting, and we're going to joie it up and make this gorgeous.
That color looks so good.